Good evening. This is the Rochester Board of Education, June 20th business meeting. I am Cynthia Elliott, President of the Board. We will start our meeting with a call of reverence, and so I'm going to ask Commissioner Patterson if you wouldn't mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. The next item on the agenda is the upcoming events for the Board of Education. I'm going to allow Rahima Wynn to make those announcements. Rahima?
Thank you, President Elliott. Good evening, commissioners, district staff, and public. For the month of July, the board will open up with a public hearing on the Contract for Excellence and the State Monitor's Academic Fiscal Plan. Those public hearings will start here at Central Office at 5:30 p.m. It will be followed up by the special meeting for consideration of resolutions at 6 p.m. Then we will conclude the month with the board business meeting on July 25th, starting at 6:30. Anyone wanting to view the board calendar may do so at rcsdk12.org/BOE calendar. The board continues to seek reps, student reps and parent reps for our committees, We are currently seeking committee reps for the Community and Intergovernmental Relations, Equity and Student Achievement, Finance and Resource Allocation, Human Capital, as well as our Policy Development and Review Committees. Anyone who's wishing to apply may do so by going to rcsdk12.org/BOE rep. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wynn. And so the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, but we have no minutes, so we'll move on to the next item. The next item is the speakers list, and I'm going to call up Carla Carey.
Good evening, President Elliott, Vice President LeBron, and Commissioners. I sincerely appreciate the recognition of School 19 last week for exiting receivership. Now the question is, will the success continue? Or will it be dismantled, as is so often the pattern for successful endeavors in our district? Consider the following. School 19 is expecting a 12.5% increase in student population for next year. However, we are losing 9 full-time positions, each of which was aligned with one of the 3 pillars of the school improvement plan that got us out of receivership. The pillars of the plan were community engagement, restorative practices, and our instructional model. It's a plan which should continue because we want to keep improving our students' achievement. Getting out of receivership should be just the beginning. The cuts included 2 positions supporting community engagement, one of which was the community site coordinator. This is a critical position for a school that is coordinating with multiple partner organizations in order to be a school of the arts. 2 positions that supported our implementation of restorative practices, and 5 instructional positions which provided the additional student support for the instructional model. These included 3 instructional TA positions and 2 teaching positions. Additionally, the structure of our model consists of 1 ICOT class and a general education class that function together as a grade level unit. However, we are not being allocated an ICOT class for grades 1 and grades 4. It feels like the rug is being pulled out from under what we know works. I'm here to ask that we put the rug back. We're asking for an addition of 6 instructional teacher assistant positions to our staffing template. This would be a monetary decrease over what was spent last year on School 19, and it would also allow us to fully staff our collaborative co-teaching model in grades K through 6. Not only is using the additional instructional teacher assistant per grade level within the model a cost-effective exemplar for the extra support New York's fair funding formula was designed to provide to students in high-need districts, It also creates a natural pipeline for increasing the number of Black and brown teachers in front of our students. Many of our teacher assistants that are in our model go on to become certified teachers within this district. And within our model, our teacher assistants function as an equal teacher on that grade level teaching team. We are also asking that we be granted an ICOT section at 1st and 4th grade, and that we're hoping that the additional funding for community schools would help us to restore a community site coordinator.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. So the next item on the agenda is, because that concludes the speakers portion, is the advisory reports. And so I'm going to turn it over to David for his advisory report.
Is it possible, Ms. Briggs or Ms. President Elliott, if you come back to me?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. And so there is a representative, so there's no parent leadership report, but there is a representative for the Bilingual Education Council. Good evening.
Good evening, President Elliott and esteemed commissioners. I think I'm going to do this in Spanish first. I think that's what I'm supposed to do, and then switch to English. Muy buenas tardes. El Concilio Bilingüe patrocinó la feria del BEC y MPAC para padres el martes 11 de junio del 2024 en la Escuela 15, The Children's School of Rochester. El evento se llevó a cabo al aire libre y contó con una gran asistencia de aproximadamente 80 familias multilingües. Los miembros del consejo del BEC asaron hamburguesas y perritos calientes, Shahrazad y Aladdin sirvieron comida adicional, hubieron casitas inflables, actividades y mesas con información sobre programas de verano para padres. Las mesas representadas fueron RIT, Student Success Program, American Heart Association, Office of Parent Engagement, Children's Agenda, PLTI, Rock the Future, Monroe County DEI, Healthplex, PLAC, CPAC, Midwest, Urban, Pre-K, Oasis, Ibero y Hillside. Queremos agradecer especialmente a la diputada Ruth Turner, al director Jay Piper por dar la bienvenida a la feria en la Escuela 15, a Rebecca Hetherington por donar 3 casas de inflables y al equipo del Departamento de Educación Bilingüe e Idiomas del Mundo. También quiero agradecer a LaShara Evans, Chief of Staff, por su participación en la graduación de la Escuela 12 el día martes, que fue algo muy bonito. I guess I'll switch. So, esteemed commissioners, just a quick report that the BEC sponsored a BEC and MPAC fair for parents on Tuesday, June 11th at the Children's School of Rochester. It was an outdoor event. It was very well attended with approximately 80 families. The BEC council members grilled and provided food for families, which was also catered by Shahrazad and Aladdin's. There were bouncy houses, activities, and tables, but especially with information for parents looking to support their students during the summer months. I think you heard the long list of supporting agencies. I'll just briefly mention that RIT, the American Heart Association, the Office of Parent Engagement, PLTI, the Children's Agenda, Rock the Future, PLAC, CPAC, Oasis, Ibero, Hillside, and several other organizations contributed to this event. We are very grateful to that. And we'd like to thank Deputy Ruth Turner, Principal Jay Piper for welcoming us at School 15, Rebecca Hetherington for donating 3 bounce houses, and the Bilingual Education and World Languages Department team. And finally, just the thing that I wanted to add was that at the School 12 graduation, 6th grade graduation on Tuesday, we had Chief of Staff LaShara Evans there give a speech for the students, which is very moving. And we are very grateful for having your support of this body and also of the Chief of Staff. Thank you very much.
And I just want to say, I did try to come to the event, but the last I knew it was at School 50. So I went to School 50, and then I saw the notice that it was changed to 15.
Yeah, that was a mix-up. We thought we had School 50, and then at the last second, we had to relocate to School 15.
All right. Just wanted to let you know that I did try to attend.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate
All
your
right.
time.
Thank you. All right, we'll go back to our student representative, David.
Good evening, board staff, families, teachers, and students. My name is David Bouillon. I'm a 12th grader from Rochester Early College International High School, and this will be my final and last report for the school year as president for the Student Leadership Congress. I didn't want to take up too much time, but I did, however, want to quickly announce the results of our election for the upcoming school year. SLC students voted and decided that Cherish Jones Carter from Rochester Early College International High School will be our upcoming vice president, with Hazel Roberts, a student from Wilson Commencement High School, being our newly elected president. I had the great honor of serving with Hazel as my vice president, and I'm so lucky and proud of her, her new role as president. I know she'll do many great things, and I can't speak enough about her, so I'd rather have her just come to the podium and share a little about herself.
About to make me cry, man. Okay, well, I don't have to introduce my name, but I'm Hazel Roberts, and as the school year is finally over, I am now a senior at Wilson Magnet High School, you know? Okay. Let's see, David, you took the first part of my stuff out. Hold on. Okay. As I walk through my last high school chapter, I hope to continue promoting student voice throughout the RCSD and inspire continuous change. I've been a part of the SLC since I was a sophomore, where I was first the secretary for some time and then eventually the vice president for the last 2 years. And now I'm taking on the presidency role. Every step along the way that I took to get to this current moment in time, I have learned something new and valuable. I learned that you can't get anywhere or achieve anything without some sort of help and/or support, and that everyone matters. Every perspective and voice matters. Alongside SLC this school year, I was the first Wilson student body president in over 10 years, and I can honestly say it was amazing. After spending all of last year rebuilding our student government, it was monumentous to see all the work we put in paid off and how the school culture and climate has improved and flourished. Outside of student and district government, I also represent the RCSD as a student athlete. First and foremost, I'm a part of the RCSD student athlete leadership team under Ms. Cameron Johnson, which we're about to approach our 3rd year this upcoming school year. To be a part of the inaugural group as a sophomore was definitely a proud moment. To step away from our district for a moment, I also represent all of Section 5 athletics on the state level under the New York State Public High School Student Athlete Association Student Athlete Advisory Committee. This is the first time in history that an RCSD student has been a part of the state committee, and this upcoming year I will be the female SAC leader alongside a male from Section 6. I'm not saying all of this to gloat. I'm saying all of this to say that I'm a proud RCSD student. Despite all the backlash we face, there's so much goodness seeping from our district. I've moved around a lot my whole childhood, but always returned back to my roots, my place of familiarity, my home. Overall, there's so much more I could say, but I'm running out of time. Thank you for listening to me this evening.
Thank you, Hazel. We absolutely look forward to working with you next year. It's going to be a delight. I already know that. And looking forward to you helping us to have that student voice in our district. So thank you so very much. But I want to take a point of personal privilege, and before we move to our next item on the agenda is for... Oh, you got a little bit more?
Yeah, just a
Oh,
little bit
okay,
more.
well, go ahead, then I'll... All right, thank you.
I just want to really quickly thank again Hazel and Cherish, and also congratulate them both. I'm so proud of you, Hazel. I met Hazel when we did the summer bridge program for Virtual Academy of Rochester, and I walked into my former Spanish teacher's classroom, and she was teaching AP Virtual Spanish to Hazel, and we both met there. That was our first time meeting, so it's great that we've known each other for so long and that you blossomed to a great leader. I'm so happy and so proud of you for becoming president. Closing it off, I just want to say how much of an impact the Student Leadership Congress has been to me. I joined the Student Leadership Congress my sophomore year too, and this was still virtual, so it's coming back from the pandemic, so everything was virtually. And I remember to join every single meeting of the SLC, any type of meeting with Ms. Briggs, all those meetings, and it was really difficult because we were arguing with adults. And that was new for me. I mean, I was a 15-year-old arguing with 40-year-olds, right, about policy and things I have no idea about. and trying to bring student voice to the table. And then I remember Anaya, she took a chance on me, and towards the end of the year, she decided to make me her vice president. And then coming to my junior year, I became the president. So it was a lot of and becoming president my junior was, and during my, that was the most turbulent part of my life. And with the SLC, I had no idea what I was doing. Everything was new to me. But thankfully with Tony Jordan and Miss Maria Pan Pinito and Maurice Haskins and Miss Briggs, they've all were great. Now this year with Mr. Paris, everyone has just been amazing. And moving forward, I wanted to make sure that I left something with SLC. So that's why the blueprint and foundational processes are now created. So that way, the SLC has something to build upon. And I remember when I first met the superintendent, when I first met you, Dr. Peluso, I remember I had a brief conversation with you, and you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And usually I give like the generic answer, like, oh, a college professor. But I was like, I'm going to be the next superintendent. So I just want to say that right now, for anyone asking me what I'm going to do next, I'm going to be the youngest superintendent for New York State. I'm coming back. So, and yeah, I'll be attending SUNY Brockport on a full ride scholarship with a, thank you. And then attending the Teachers College for my master's, for my professional certificate after I'm all done. And I just want to also thank a bunch of students as well. Maeve, Maya, Maria, Eddie, Shawnee, DJ, Kasim, Xavier, Marquand, Cherish, Kwasha, and so many more students who are part of the SLC who make my job honestly amazing. I know like we're the same age, but still like I think of them as like my students, and that's weird. I'm just so proud of you, Hazel and Cherish. I know that they'll do amazing and great things. And lastly, I just wanted to leave with great, hope you're gonna do great, Dr. Strickland. So really proud of you too, really proud of the board. I feel like you guys are in a great spot right now, so just keep going. And yeah, that's it for me, so thank
Well,
you.
thank you. So I'd like to take a point of personal privilege. Let me just refer to the general counsel, if that's okay. And so that the board members here can, those who would like to, can offer up some congratulations and to David. And so I'll start with Commissioner Santiago.
Yeah, I just want to take some time. Can we really give honor and really give celebration to David, who has done so much work in SLC while also being in school, while also taking care of his family. He has done so much work, and so let's give it up for him. These are the students that have taken their time to use their voice and make sure that they have a voice in the conversations that we have. And so I am so excited, about Hazel taking the role. And David, we really appreciate the work that you've done to really format the SLC and ensure that the SLC is pushing and ensuring that our young people are engaged with the SLC to use their voice. And so we really appreciate you. Thank you for the work that you did. I cannot wait to see you come and apply for the superintendency. I'll support you. Demario, be careful. Demario, be careful. But I'm excited for your path and for your journey, and I'm always here, so just let me know. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Any other commissioners interested in saying a few words? All right, let's go with, well, I'm asking if people want to volunteer. Okay, go ahead.
Listen, I got something to say. Dave, y'all remember when David called us old heads? I haven't forgotten that, but like the old heads say, keep living. But I just wanted to commend you. I heard your name before I even joined the board because Anaya, my niece, was serving in the seat that you're in. And she often expressed her thoughts around SLC and what she thought what could happen. And during the time she was serving, it was the pandemic, so it was not very stellar. And she was really excited about the opportunity to have you come in and serve. And so I heard your name and I heard how she referenced you, and then I got to meet you. And I was thoroughly impressed and remain thoroughly impressed. I just really want to commend you around the work that you've done, as already stated, to bring the SLC up into another level, preparing it for the excellent Hazel Roberts. That's like a movie star name right there. I know that you will bring color and life to the SLC in continuation, so I love the way you all are working together, the unity among you students. Continue to lift voice, continue to stay steadfast, if you will, in your walk. And wherever you're going to go, David, be it the superintendency or the presidency, whatever it is you're going to do it and do it well, and do it with the excellence that you brought to this seat, and I believe you will achieve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Malloy?
I'm going to take my mask off. I'm a little under the weather, but I'll put it back on quickly, I promise. Congratulations to you. I've really enjoyed getting to know you the last couple of years, and you're just such a stellar young man. And it so pleases me as an educator to have a young person say they want to go into education these days, because we don't hear that very often. And to have you want to come back to RCSD, it's such an honorable yet reassuring message for all of us that we're doing what we need to do for our young people. We can always do more, but thank you for elevating student voice. Thank you for representing us with such honor at community events. Thank you for the respect that you show to the community. And I've really just enjoyed watching you blossom up on here on the dais. I will offer one bit of advice as an educator, though. I can't wait to see you as superintendent one day. I hope I am no longer on this board when that happens. But make sure you teach for at least 10 years before you hop into administration. So, because it's the teaching, that's how you're going to get to know students, and that's how you're going to serve them the best. So, congratulations to you.
Thank you. Before I go to Commissioner Vice President LeBron, is there anybody else who want to volunteer to say something?
Absolutely. David, from me to you, genuinely, I wish you the absolute best in your future endeavors, and may God keep you and cover you in whatever you do. God bless.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Vice President LeBron?
Yeah, I just want to say to David, congratulations. I have lots of admiration for you and any and every student that has served on this seat. The reality is we're asking students to focus on academics, do their best there, be involved in extracurriculum activities, but serving here in this capacity, I think it does elevate the responsibility. It makes it a little bit trickier. And we, as much as we would love to navigate around all of your schedules, the reality is serving here requires you all to sort of have to fold your lives around this board business meeting and other business meetings. I've always been impressed. Hazel, I already know you're going to blow us away this year, upcoming on the school board. But again, every single student, and David, you are no exception. It is just, you guys are, for me, the best of the best in this district. And I wish you the best. And like Commissioner Santiago said, I'm around as well as you move forward. I'm sure I will see you in the community as I continue to. And Hazel, I look forward to serving with you this school year. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to offer one more time before I speak. All right, so David, I just wanted to, you already know. You already know how I feel. I will put you all up against anybody. I will put you all. I've got to see you all do great things. I've been in those meetings where you developed your bylaws, and I was just really impressed, And so I thank you that I have the opportunity to know you. You have blessed my life. I thank you so very much for all what you do in representing our students. Thank you so very much for that. And I do look forward. I may not be around, but I do look forward for you. Now, you got to come back to the Rochester City School District. You can't go to any other talking about being a superintendent. And so just want to thank you and congratulate you, and that God be with you in all that you do. Congratulations and thank you. But I'll be at the graduation as well. So thank you. And so at this point, I'm going to ask for a motion that we resort the agenda. I'd like to have Resolution 959 as our next item for discussion and for vote. So can I get a motion for that? Did I say that right, General Counsel? All right. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So at this point, we will look at Resolution 959, which is the naming of, let me get down there, the naming of School 33. Let me just get up to it. I thought I was there. School 33. Can I get a motion for Resolution 959? Moved by Commissioner Malloy, is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to Resolution 959?
Yes. I'll put on camera now.
Yes, Vice President LeBron?
And I would like to ask that we give the family an opportunity to put some remarks on the record,
Sure.
but on record here, I just want to thank the Bannister family for allowing us to even honor your mother's name, but really honor this community and honor our children as they continue to go throughout their entire lives. Not only this group of students that will be there when they start in the fall under a new name, but for years and generations to come. Personally, I do love the fact that we do get to name a school in honor of someone that has given so much back to this community, a queen of this community, but also the fact that our kids will get to learn the history here in Rochester and sort of how like that's a whole life cycle for them. And how cool is that kids will in Rochester have a name, like School 16 as well, and School 10, right? We have Dr. Walter Cooper, who comes every school year to greet the kids, Dr. Alice Young. These names have history in this community for a reason and the impact, but it's so easy to forget sometimes and not have those opportunities right in our family and our kids' faces to ask, who was this individual? Who was Miss Iris Bannister? And it is my hope and my dream that with that curiosity for generations to come, that they'll continue to ask, who was Queen Mother Iris Bannister? And that her legacy will continue forever. So thank you. That's what I'll say.
Thank you, Vice President LeBron. Commissioner Simmons?
Yes, I'll just keep my remarks brief. Again, congratulations to the Bannister family and congratulations to the Rochester community. And as we continue to look at honorable names that are over the edifice of our children, we want to make sure that our children begin to encompass the spirit of the individuals that we're talking about. It is one thing to name a school building. It is another thing to, once again, study the history, encompass the spirit, and charge our children to live up to the excellence that these names are deserve, and so and that our children deserve. So we need to make sure that we are supporting our children by supplying them with the education that mirrors the names on the buildings. Therefore, they shall not be shamed.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, just want to congratulate the Bannister family. We have to honor these people who walked so young people like me can run. And so I give a big thank you to the Bannister family and to Iris Bannister, even in her passing. We give her honor. And we do that by naming the school that she worked in, that she worked hard in, after her. And so just like the other commissioners has stated, my hopes is that the history in her work and her character is shown in this building, and that it's taught to our young people to show them that there has been people who have been stakeholders who have pushed for better education in this city and has done great things more than just this city, but internationally. So big honor to you guys, and my hopes is that we teach every young person in that school about Iris Bannister and what she's done for the Rochester community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Santiago. Commissioner Malloy?
I'll be very brief. I just want to say congratulations to your family. What an honor for such a great educator. And I hope the students, as Commissioner Santiago said, I hope the students are taught from a very young age who she was and the impact that she had, not on this community, but will continue to have for all of their lives. So thank you.
All right, Commissioner Griffin?
Yes, to the Bannister family, I had the privilege of not only going to school in Rochester with a great district that your mother helped to develop, but I had a chance also to work with her in the district at one time when I was working in the district years and years and years ago. I'm kind of dating myself probably because I look like I'm 25. But in the end of the day, she was a great person. She was a great pillar in the city of Rochester. And she's missed now for the legacy and the development that she gave this city and this district. And if she was still here, that she would probably be instrumental in making changes back to the way it was, back to the basics, and making sure that we were following the path of right and not wrong. So again, I applaud you and I applaud your mom and her legacy and her history, and how she has developed our district. And hopefully we can get back to what she planted, the seeds that she planted in the district. And basically that's going back to the basics. So again, congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Let me just move just put my head up. When I think of Iris Bannister, I think of power. Talking about a force in this community. And loved herself some Black people, not only in this nation, but internationally, loving Black people, particularly in Africa. And so we think that Simeon can speak, but where did he get it from, right? And so, powerhouse. And so it gives me great honor and a great privilege that we at this board is able to name the school after Iris Bannister. And what I'd like to do, take the opportunity before you all speak, is to just read the resolution that we have and then offer you an opportunity to say a few words. Whereas resolution number 2021-22, 576, adopted on April 28th, 2022, the Board of Education of the Rochester City School District amended naming facilities policy number 7500, and whereas the school facility located at 500 Webster Avenue, currently known as John James Audubon number 33, serves students in grades pre-K through 6, and whereas pursuant to provision number 4 of the policy, school community members have requested that this facility be renamed, and whereas consistent with requirements of the policy, the superintendent has submitted a recommendation to rename this facility with no change to the grade configuration, and whereas the board concurs with and fully supports the superintendent's recommendation, therefore be it resolved that the school located at 500 Webster Avenue be and hereby is renamed Dr. Iris J. Bannister School Number 33, effective with the 2025-26 school year, and be it further resolved that the board authorizes and directs the submission of appropriate documents required by the State Education Department with respect to the aforementioned renaming. So I would, at this point, before we vote on it, have you all to share some words with us, if you would like to.
Yes. First, we want to just say thank you that you saw just the impact my mom made. One of the things that my mom told me growing up, she would always remind me, awards and honors are only as good as the impact that you make. And my mom is certainly, from your words, has left an impact in this community, in the state, and in this nation. And our hearts are just full because we get a chance to see some of those lasting memories and those lasting stories. And so to have certainly my daughter, my niece, and my nephew, and even for my brothers and I, to have the opportunity to ride by and see her name still posted in the community. And again, to have students who attend 33 to be able to look and see the impact that they can make too. That girl from the country, the state of Oklahoma, who came up here and decided that she was going to just not teach, but she was going to be a leader, speak truth to power, seek justice, be honest, but be a woman of God. And so we just say thank you. We certainly appreciate you and all that you have done to keep, even in your own way, the work continuing. So thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. So having said that, all those in favor of Resolution 959?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. It carries unanimously. So the school, as of the 25-26 school year, will be named Dr. Iris Bannister, school number 33. Congratulations. Yeah, let's just start. In her honor, thank you. All right, so we'll continue with the business. We have a short executive session, so I'm going to ask for a motion for us to go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining matters leading to the employment of specific individuals and/or pending or current litigation with the general counsel. Motion?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So we will go into a quick executive session and come back. Thank you. We have come back from executive session, and we're going to continue with the agenda. The next item on the agenda is the board reports, and I'll start off with the audit committee. Commissioner Patterson?
Yes, my name is Commissioner James Patterson, Chair of the Audit Committee, and this is regarding the Audit Committee report submitted to the Board of Education at the June 20th, 2024 business meeting. The Audit Committee convened as a committee of the whole on Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. The claims external and internal auditors presented at the meeting. Nowicki Smith performed the claims audit presentation. They summarized transactions reviewed through April 2024 and identified all concerns communicated to management. They concluded that management had been responsive during their audit claims. Drescher and Malicki, the external auditor, presented the 2024 audit plan for the annual comprehensive financial report, ACFR, audit for the year ending June 30th, 2024. Field work for the audit will start in June with a draft report being issued in November 2024. The board accepted the audit plan in Resolution 848. The Auditor General provided an overview of the graduation follow-up audit. Let me read that again, I'm sorry. The Auditor General provided an overview of the graduation follow-up audit. Out of the 27 recommendations issued, 11 were completed, 2 were pending completion with minor adjustments, and 11 were partially completed, and 3 remain open. Can I have a motion to accept the graduation follow-up audit?
So moved.
Commissioner Malloy, and then Commissioner Griffin. Oh, that's a second. Are there any questions or comments?
I do have a question, just really quickly, around the student placement improvements. Was that part of the, there was an audit done on student placement improvements. Was that in concession with the graduation audit, or?
I think student placement audit was a separate audit that, that Anissa was doing beyond. This is the graduation audit that happened prior to that, so this was.
So we'll be bringing that
It
one
will
up
come
at
from
some
when
point?
when
Okay.
that report's done, I'm sure.
We'll get a status
Yep.
on that then. Okay, thank you.
Superintendent? Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against?
All right.
The ayes have it. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Before we move on, I am going to ask for another point of personal privilege because I had invited Adam Urbanski here, and I just wanted him to come since this is our Superintendent Peluso's last meeting. I wanted to have Dr. Urbanski to come and just give Dr. Peluso a few words of well wishes. So Dr. Urbanski, could you do that for us, please? And I know you have to leave, so that's why I wanted to go out of order in the agenda.
I do. Thank you, President Elliott, for inviting me. I welcome this opportunity, brief opportunity, to confirm what is already an open secret, and that is that I have great respect for Carmine Peluso. Have had that since the beginning, and it only grew after every interaction between him, our union, and our members. The day before yesterday, he received a standing ovation from the RTA Representative Assembly. That has never occurred in the past to any prior superintendent. But that was very well deserved. Dr. Peluso always was prepared. He was always competent, thoughtful. We didn't always agree on everything, but the better half of things we disagreed on, he was right. And he was very collaborative, not only with us, but with the other constituencies. So you made the right move by giving him the opportunity to lead our district. We respect, like you, we respect his family's decision about his own future. And we want to thank him on behalf of the 3,000 teachers that I represent. Thank you, Dr. Peluso, for all you've done. We look forward to continuing the same relationship in the same manner with Mr. Strickland, soon to be Dr. Strickland. And I think that will be for one major reason, and that is to serve all our students in the best way that we can, and the best way to serve them is together. So once again, President Elliott, members of the board, thank you very much for this opportunity. Dr. Peluso, I hope we will continue to see you, whether formally or informally. You have the affection and the respect of all the teachers that I represent, and mine as well, as you well know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Peluso. I did invite the other board presidents, other union presidents, but it was last minute and they were unavailable. But Dr. Urbanski, thank you so very much that you were able to come and give those words.
Thank you, President Elliott. Speaking of other union presidents, one of them whom you all know and respect, I know, who had similarly a great relationship with Dr. Peluso and with the board and with the city school district, is Dan DiClemente, who I learned just today that he was transferred to a hospice. And so we all pray for him and for his family. And I know you will too.
Thank you. And then just having said that, if we could just take a moment of silence on behalf of Dan, I'd appreciate that. Just a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Urbanski. We will go on to our board reports, but I'm going to, if it's okay, Vice President has asked if we can go to the policy committee, and then because of the reports that we have and from the finance committee. So I'm going to go to Commissioner Griffin with the policy committee report.
Sorry. Board reports from the Policy Committee for June 4th, 2024, board business meeting. The Policy Committee met as a committee of the whole on Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. During that meeting, the board reviewed and accepted April 9th, 2024 policy and account meeting minutes. General Counsel Neal presented the NISBA policy recommendation updates for the 2023-2024 third installment. Mrs. Stacy Richards, the Senior Manager, Outreach and Education Director for Planned Parenthood Central Western New York, presented on In Control program, highlighting one of Rochester's community student organizations. Senior Research Analyst Travis presented policy updates to policies 4216 through 4240 and 4314.3, which the board reviewed and forwarded these policies on the Policy Committee to tonight's business meeting. The board discussed and approved the criteria for the board committee representative, parent representative, and student committee representative. And we also wanted to include the following proposed policy items. Nope. I'm sorry. I'm giving you more information. Sorry. The next policy council meeting is Tuesday, August 6, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin, and now we'll go to the Finance Committee. Vice President LeBron?
Yes, thank you. Let me me 1 second, and we also have some presentations tonight. So the Finance Committee did not convene this month, however, the following financial activities did occur. The board attended the June 13th joint public hearing on the RCSD budget with City Council, and on June 18th, the council approved the RCSD budget in a 4-3 vote with 2 absentations. I just want to point out that there are 2 city council members who are RCSD employees, and so they are not allowed to vote. And other than that, it reflects the same vote that passed the RCSD, that passed the city budget. It was a 5-3. Tonight, we will receive presentations on the monthly financial reports, the contract for excellence, and the annual Medicaid compliance report. And at this time, I welcome Chief Financial Officer Sean Farr to present the June 2024 financial report.
Thank you. The report for June is through May 31st data. We'll start with Section A, which is cash balances. And I'll highlight that the cash balance at May 31st was $381 million, which is $101 million more than the same period as last year. So our cash flow as a district remains strong. And will continue as we close out the federal stimulus grants. Going down to Section C at the bottom of page 1, you'll note here there are some changes in revenue. One is you'll see a $22 million. That was a transfer from fund balance that was approved last month by the board. Interest earnings remain strong. We made $1.7 million in the month of May, which is incredible. And if you go to the top of page 2, you'll see that we received a stop loss reimbursement. This is on stop loss on health insurance, or health benefits and insurance policy since we're self-insured. The special aid fund had a new grant came in. The first one listed there, teacher residency program, $1.2 million, which will be very useful for the district as we work and use that funding to promote, allow teachers to obtain master's degrees and help compensate for that. Going to page 3, the first graph section, you'll see highlight that there's a line percent difference from an adopted budget. So these are revenues in the general fund were 1.8% better than budget, so that's good. We're 5.6% better in special aid, which is reflective of additional grants that the district has received during the fiscal year. We are 4% under budgeted revenue in school food service, but this is primarily offset with less expenses in the fund. If you go down to Section D, you'll see that the general fund has 15.1% of funding that was available. That's with 1 month left in the fiscal year. 1 month or 1/12 is 8.33%. So what it tells you is that our expenses are well under control. Same thing with special aid with 18.5%, and school food service fund with 17%. So across the board, our expenses are being controlled. Go to the top of page 4. And I'll note here that the second column, that's ARP. So those are federal stimulus money, which originally we were allocated $197 million. And we have, as of the end of May, we had 11.3% remaining, $22 million. We do have a plan to expend all those funds. And it's a similar plan that we used with the CRRSA funds last year, where we spent virtually all the money. You go down to Section G, You'll see these give you an idea of how much capital funds that we have on hand. These are funds that we use to do various projects, smaller projects for our schools. We have $46 million left in what's cash capital, which is the district's funds that the district has put in over time. And then the bond column, $18 million, is debt that the district has, or the city has issued on behalf of the district. And we use a combination of district funds and debt financing to do these projects. And let's see, so if you go to page 5, just note, I noted this earlier, but the School Food Service Fund is basically running pretty close to break even. That's without using any transfers from either the food service fund balance or the general funds fund balance. So food service program remains strong. And then item J, charter school enrollment. As of May 1st, we had approximately 7,700 students in charter schools. We're projecting an expense on that of $111 million. And so we're about $3 million better than budget. So we have extra resources there as well. Any questions? And so that's me. Next on the, well.
No, I was going to say.
Next is Terry Hassler, who is our Executive Director for Budget and Operating Efficiencies. He'll give the board just a real brief update on what's called Contract for Excellence.
Thank you.
Vice President LeBron, your motion to accept the financial report.
Oh, you want me to do it now? I'll ask, I guess, now for a motion to accept the unaudited June 2020.
So moved.
24 financial report. Motioned by President Elliott, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There are 2 people.
Aye.
Oh.
Commissioner Patterson, are you yes and yea or nay? Aye. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it passes with 4. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful Budget Director, Terry. The floor is all yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to, like Chief R just said, I'm just going to give a brief update on Contract for Excellence. What is it? A little bit of information about it, little overview of it, and what it's all about. What is the Contract for Excellence? What does that mean? We've heard it quite a few times. We do a public hearing on it every year. What exactly is it? A few facts about it. Short for, a lot of people refer to it as C4E, Contract for Excellence, was established to provide additional accountability for certain school districts. I think right now there's 12 or 13 of them across New York State. It was designed to be a comprehensive approach to targeting fiscal resources to specific allowable programs, and for each district that has Contract for Excellence to identify those resources for specific purposes. Let's take a look at some of the allocations that we've had over the years. Contract for Excellence went into effect, I believe, in 2008, 2009, so it's been 15 years running, and on this slide here, I've shown the last 12 years. It started off at $29 million that we needed to identify for specific expenditures, and it's been that amount for years up through 2023. And then in 2023-24, earlier this year, the state kind of threw us a curveball and changed the amount on us just as we were filing it, about a week before we filed it. They increased it by about $5 million because of the foundation aid formula being reenacted by Governor Hochul. So they came to the conclusion that we need to identify more of these dollars. And then as you can see, into the future, they want to keep increasing it by about $5 million a year, all the way through 2027, 28. I do apologize. I think we got scheduled. Page 4 is on there twice. Okay, big picture. Each year, we have to file a contract for excellence budget when we hold a public hearing, and we have certain categories such as full-day kindergarten, time on task, items like that that we identify our dollars and come up with the exact budgeted dollars that New York State says that we must do to qualify for the Contract for Excellence program. Sorry, the slide's a little small there. These are the different items that Contract for Excellence you can claim under. The blue ones are the categories that our CSD currently is claiming under. Time on task, that's our staff that work in the full expense. What word am I looking for? Students have been suspended in school rooms, and so that's to keep the students in the school instead of giving them out of school suspension. They get in school suspension. So we claim the staff that's working in those rooms, like I mentioned, full day kindergarten. And so now the technicalities behind a little bit of it. Next, yeah. So the needs weight formula. New York State says that we must allocate these dollars to our schools based on certain needs among those buildings. Certain factors they take into consideration are economically disadvantaged, ELL status, percentage, students with disability status, and non-proficiencies among the school district's test scores. And we use prior year data to do that, and then New York State actually provides us that data, and then we just take our schools and we put them in order based on that, on those percentages. However, this year we've got a unique situation with the reconfiguration, and so right now, currently, I'm working with New York State and the Department of Accountability, Dr. Orden. We're trying to get them the information they need. They're gonna try to make these needs weights calculations for us on estimated numbers. And then at the bottom there, you see the 75-50 rule. That is, we have to put 75% of the dollars in the top 50% of the schools that are weighted. Here's just an example of a page that from the report that we file that shows the different categories that we use and the totals. And as you can see, this says 2023-24, as I just got done saying we are working on 24-25 because of our unique situation. New York's working on that. Yeah, it's fine. And so here, I just wanted to show, this is kind of what the needed weights looks like with the schools. You can see on there that we have a couple schools that won't be with us next year. And so this is also a snapshot from 23-24. And we'll have to make a new one once they get us those calculations. That's just laying out the 75%, 75-50 rule, like I mentioned before. If it, say a district has 42 schools that are active, we have to take 75% of the funds that they identify as contract for excellence, and we need to allocate those to the top 21 schools in the calculation. Submission of actuals. So once we get done with the budget, We go through the year, everything happens, and then just like any financial data, once the year gets done, which is coming up right now, we will submit actuals based on the budget. So we have to submit the exact dollar amount in which New York State gave us. There's a very specific dollar amount that they gave us. So we're going to submit that. That's due every September 30th. And this has happened for the last 15 years. I know that was a quick, kind of 10-minute presentation. Is there any questions from anybody? All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Terry. Oh, you got a question? I'm sorry, President Elliott has a question. You're gonna have to turn right back to it.
Yeah.
Come on up, Mr. Terry.
Just
That's okay.
one question. How long will we be getting these funds? I see up to 28, but is this indefinite funding? How long will we be
Yeah,
getting?
so, yeah, that's a good point that I wanted to clarify is, these funds are not additional, I should have mentioned this in the beginning. These funds are not additional funds. These are part of our foundation aid
Okay.
formula, and there are specific dollars that New York State has said that you've got to spend in these categories
Okay.
that we've given you. That is as far as, the 28 is as far as the table goes that New York has on their website.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know beyond that.
Yep, thank you.
I just want to point out, though, I feel like when this was the first initially introduced by the governor, that I did not foresee that this is what it would turn into, right? Like, the conversations years ago was that there would be greater transparency to how dollars were spent across all districts, and this was supposed to be the government solution. That's all. And I don't think it's much of a solution, but thank you, Terry. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. And so now we're going to go into the annual Medicaid compliance presentation. And Mike, I'll turn it over to you. Great to see you.
Great, thank you. I would like to say thank you, President Elliott, Commissioners, Superintendent Dr. Peluso, District Management, and other respectful members here for allowing me to speak tonight and report on the Medicaid program. For those who do not know, I am the Medicaid Compliance Officer for the Rochester City School District. Our Medicaid program allows us to get reimbursed for services. They're IEP-related services on students' IEPs. Those services are therapy as for speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy. There are also psychological counseling services, special transportation, nursing services, and the list goes on. Those services are all documented in our district systems, and our team are constantly looking at them from an audit compliance standpoint, making sure they're audit defensible at all times. In order for the services to be reimbursable, there are specific Medicaid requirements and documentation that must be on file. So that's very important. And those are the items that we are constantly looking at on an ongoing basis. As the Medicaid Compliance Officer, I collaboratively work with many and various managers throughout our district. The important conversations and collaboration is the art to allow the program to maintain its compliance and making sure the necessary things that are needed get done, or if we are seeing things that are not meeting the requirements or not being submitted for the requirements, we address those with the appropriate managers and making sure we take the appropriate action that they do get done, and those claims are supported for audit defensibleness. The agenda for tonight is listed up there. These are the items I would like to discuss and just have key points to share with you. If we can go to the next slide, Tom. You know, as we oversee the Medicaid program and we work with all our members and managers, we are constantly providing clear communication to our staff. We do this through various trainings with different of the special related service areas and speccing out each area, what is requirement, what are the requirements, making sure they understand what needs to be submitted. There are some items that need to be on a timely fashion and making sure each of the requirements are submitted through the applications that we use, because at any time, although the district's getting Medicaid reimbursed for these services, it's important that they're audit defensible at all times. So making sure we keep those files electronically stored away for the number of years that we are required to is very important. So the Medicaid department ourselves are constantly reviewing information. We have over 50 validations in our application that also do cross-checks and making sure each of the items are met before those claims are submitted to the state for reimbursement. I want to say a special thanks to Chief Swan. She has been an advocate in helping support with her team and meeting with us on a regular basis monthly with her team to address compliance issues that we are seeing in the Medicaid area and with her staff. We also have additional things planned over the summer, retreats, being able to peel the onion back, looking at particular items and addressing them one by one and investing that time. I want to say thank you very much for your support. On the next slide, I would like to speak to the revenue. What I did here is I put a 2-year window, and these amounts are in gross, but I wanted to start with the 22-23 school year first. When we last met in June, I shared that the 22-23 school year was at just over $800,000. Claims were on hold for various reasons. Since then, we generated over $3 million, brings us up to just over $3.8 million for the 22-23 school year. And then also for the current school year, claims are on hold for this school year. We are currently at just shy of $4 million. In both of these years, past year and the current past school year, these numbers should be continuing to go up. Our billing window is currently at a 15-month billing window, and we're working with the Department of Health to expand that window for various reasons, and I'll speak on a future slide and the reasons why for that. But going back to the past school year, the claims were put on hold for various Medicaid investigations that we were performing, and I'll speak to that on a few of the slides as we move forward. You can go to the next slide. In the Medicaid investigations, we are always trying to maintain the highest level of compliance. We want to make sure the Medicaid reimbursement is not at risk. We do all our checks and balances, making sure things are meeting the requirements and staying on top of the new requirements that are coming out. This past year, we've been involved with 4 investigations. One of the Medicaid investigations has been completed. Our report has been submitted with recommendations to the appropriate district management. And there are 3 further investigations that are assumed to be completed also. In an investigation, if there are any additional actions, corrective actions, reduction of claims, paybacks, reporting to the state Medicaid unit, those actions are also taken by our office, and we work collaboratively with the state in making sure the appropriate actions are taking place to protect the district's Medicaid program. In this area, I just want to make also another suggestion. 2 areas that we, in our reviews of the Medicaid documentation, we were focusing on evaluation signatures, which we are currently in an investigation and looking more of an audit. And the second area was for services that are under the direction of the documentation. And these are the staff who are mentoring and doing the additional documentation of their contacts with their staff or unlicensed staff, or seeing those students in that documentation, making sure that meets the Medicaid requirement. In the past audits in New York State, the under the direction of documentation always has been an issue in various different districts. So we want to make sure we always pay special attention to that area as long as all the other areas that we look at. Next slide, Tom. These are the items that I listed out that are impacting, that I wanted to share from a financial standpoint for the district's Medicaid program. Starting with the first one in the next slide is the parental consent. And the parental consent, for those who do not know, is the consent that we need from parents that will allow us to identify if the students are Medicaid eligible. This starts the process. Once we get the consent from the parents, those are documented in our application. We are able to identify if the students have Medicaid eligibility numbers, which is all confidential information, and then we start the process from submitting our claims. As the compliance officer, I report the status of parental consent on a quarterly basis in my Medicaid report. We also made available, which is updated nightly in the Power School application for each school to see which Medicaid parental consents are missing for each of their students. In this particular area, I just think, my recommendation is we continue the collaboration, working closely with special education and other departments in the district, like the Office of Placement, our schools, our support staff, and then also enforce the electronic mechanisms for getting parental consent for parents. We worked very close with special education to make this a very user-friendly fashion where it could be done on your phone or a laptop off-site by just, either scanning a code or using the hyperlink that we provided to parents. One last thing I want to also mention about parental consent, we just recently did a quick push year-end, which seems like it started to be successful. We'll be measuring that and we'll report back. We worked with the communications department and did communication to parents. Within 1 or 2 days, we already seen over 60, 70 parental consents come into the district. So we will continue those efforts moving forward and making sure we can address the parental consent and the money that's being lost. As you can see the slide for parental consent, we have on the parental consent just over $1.1 million that's pending for parental consent. And if you look at the prior, $800,000 for the parental consent. And if you see in prior years, there's just over $700,000. So between the 2 school years, that's $1.5 million that we are losing from not having the signed parental consent from parents. So those are claims that we have estimated that would be eligible if we got the consent form to release that information. But at this time, we are not able to until those forms are signed by the parents. So it's been challenging.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Between the current school year of 23-24, we currently have just over $800,000 gross on the table to submit if we had parental consent. And in the prior school year, it was just over $700,000 of claims ready to be submitted if we had parental consent. With a total, that would be $1.5 million gross to submit for claims if we had the signed parental consent from parents.
Thank you.
No, thank you. If we can move to the next slide. The next slide is the client identification number, which is identified as SIN. This is the actual Medicaid number that goes along and identifies Medicaid eligibility. The challenges with getting the SIN and some of the struggles that we face is trying to match the demographic information of the students with the state Medicaid software's application to identify the right student, the right name, the right county, and the information, et cetera. Some of those challenges have been broken. I want to say thank you for our board, specifically Commissioner LeBron has helped us work with Monroe County recently, and we did identify hundreds of new SIN numbers with the county. That amount was an additional $528,000 that was brought into our district just from that agreement that was made with Monroe County. So I thank you very much for your support. There has been additional efforts. We've worked with New York State. We've just recently signed an agreement to do similar efforts at the state level, making sure we can do those same efforts and identifying additional SIN numbers for students that we do not have that we should be able to claim for. But like I said, there are challenges that we face, and it's not always the challenge of the information is not matching. In some circumstances, the children are just not Medicaid eligible. But in the systems that we have set up currently right now in that matching process, prior to these agreements, information is not coming back to the school districts identifying that these kids are not Medicaid eligible. So we're constantly working and chasing to identify. If you look at the slides, though, it's a positive effect. When we get the parental consent, and with parental consent and SIN, we're at 93%. The SINs that are missing with parental consent is 7%. So there's a very small number once we get the parental consent to match the students' SIN numbers. So you can see things are in place and they're working once we get the appropriate documentation that is needed. What's on the table, I also want to share. I've identified both school years for the SIN. For 22-23, it is about $268,000. For 23-24, we're at $255, just over $1,000. Combining the 2 years, it's $523, just over $1,000 that's on the table due to the missing SIN numbers. Next slide, please, Sam. Another area that I want to point out are service orders. These service orders are needed for every claim that we submit for Medicaid reimbursement. These service orders identify the need for service. They're written by clinicians either in the district or physicians, physician assistant or nurse practitioners outside the district. In the district, we have speech therapy and psychological counseling who write their own service orders, and the documentation comes to the Medicaid office, which then we submit the claims for. If it's in the area of occupational therapy, physical therapy, nursing services, those prescriptions and orders are written from the outside and they're brought into the district, and then those are logged and those claims are also submitted for reimbursement. If you look at the slide here, we have been making positive efforts in working with Chief Swan and her team. For Rochester City School District, we're showing that there's 12% that are outstanding. We've made huge strides from the prior years in this area for our district students and missing orders. In the past, we were at $1.5 million that was on the table. We still have $1 million on the table, so there are still some work that we need to do, but it is down $500,000 from past years. So orders are coming in, prescriptions are being received, but there are still areas that we could improve on. Those are some of the retreats that we are planning on meeting this summer and moving forward and identifying what those issues are so we can make sure we can put corrective actions in place. The things that we're seeing, 3 of the key areas, are just orders are not being written, they're being written late, or they're unable to be used. Those are the areas we'll probably be focusing on and giving our breakdown of each of the items so we can understand better what's going on. My recommendation in this area is just to continue collaborating with special education and with the team of the providers, provide additional training. Is it a technology gap in the application of what they submit the orders in? Trying to identify those problems is a key effort to see what's holding up the $1 million that we can generate for our district. Next slide, please. On the last slide, I wanted to just identify a few key areas that are impacting our Medicaid program also. One of the areas is the cost settlement. The cost settlement is part of the cost report that we must submit on an annual basis for the Medicaid program. In this cost settlement, it identifies all our costs that we report annually, and then within that, we have providers who are identifying what they're doing during their workday while they're providing therapy services. The last part is the settlement. After they take all that information, they put it in a formula, and they identify school districts on how much they received for Medicaid reimbursement and what their expenses are. If their expenditures are higher than the reimbursement, then they're owed a cost settlement. That's how they derive from their number. But I want to let you know, I said this at the last meeting, and I speak to this on a national level. In New York State, out of the amount of the cost settlement that they do derive from, districts are only receiving 13% of that amount. The state is receiving 80%, and their vendors are receiving 7%. When we meet on a national level, we are almost the lowest in the United States in the apportioned amount of the money that comes to our school district for the cost settlement amount. There are districts that are receiving 50%, 80%, and 100% that I meet with on an annual basis. So we do receive the lowest portion of that settlement to try to cover some of our costs in the Medicaid program. I work collaboratively with our Big Five conference, Jennifer Pyle, on an ongoing basis to work on strategies on trying to help increase those numbers and bring additional money to the district in the cost settlement. Those efforts continue, and we're looking forward to hoping sometime that number will change eventually for our district, at least 50% of the share. A few of the other areas within that cost settlement, we are owed revenue from 2017, 2018, and we're also owed revenue from 2020 to 2021. Both of those amounts are accumulating up to about $500,000 that's on the table that has not been paid out to our district. The last item I want to mention here is the Medicaid expansion. In the Medicaid expansion is another item that I'm working with the Conference of the Big Five, Jennifer Pyle. In the expansion, CMS is pushing out to expand on the Medicaid programs. Their focus is on mental health services, but at this time it also allows for other related services to be reimbursable. These are non-IEP services that would allow districts in the U.S. to get reimbursed for if they were to expand their programs. We've been working with our New York State Department of Health. Their efforts are only to expand for one service. Our recommendations were to submit an expansion for all the services we provide with non-IEPs, or at least to pick the primary services. And then if there's not financial money to support that, it would be in the SPA and then roll it out over a period of time of maybe 3 years, 6 years, or 5 years. But at least the SPA would include all the services, so then those additional monies can be driven to the school districts in New York State. Currently, right now, the proposal is only to include one service for our state's Medicaid program SPA. We're hoping that with the help possibly the board, working with the Big Five, Jennifer Pyle, that possibly they can speak to the commission and other members to expand on that program to help the district. That ends my presentation for tonight. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Yes, President Elliott has a question, and I have a few questions and comments too. No, I'm going to let you.
Okay. So are there any penalties that the district is facing? Because it's interesting that, the state wants their money, but then, the money that is owed us, they seem to be taking, their time and giving it to me. And you're saying that they owe us money from the 2017 school year? So I'm wondering, Commissioner Santiago, is that something that we need to be advocating for at the state level? And I'll talk to you more
Yeah,
about
Commissioner
that.
Elliott, if I could just add, so
Sure.
yes, there's 2 school years that is pending revenue for the cost settlement. The first one is 2017-18, and the second one is 2020-21. The total amount of that money is estimated at $500,000 that's owed to the district, and that would be the full amount. That would be no gross share. That would be everything that we'd keep, and we would not have to offset it with any of the excess costs aid in our district.
So we don't have, the state is not assigning any penalties for us for any reason, right?
No, because the money's owed to us. So
Right.
these are funds that are owed to us. They are still with no answer why they haven't been paid. So there's no penalties, to answer your question, in regards to the cost settlement from the state. This
Okay.
is money owed to the district.
And I'm the chief compliance officer for my place of work, and we're just updated our compliance plan. And in our plan, we just removed the language that a signature stamp is not required, is no longer, the signature stamp is, you can't use the signature stamp, but that's been changed, and so, yeah. So what's the situation here in the district? Do you
So
all-
President Elliott, when I presented to the commissioners in my last meeting in June, we had a discussion in regards to the evaluations that are being done in the district. And a lot of the evaluations were stamped during the time of COVID due to various reasons. We took the appropriate actions. We voided those claims out. We did not submit those claims. A lot of them were pending to be submitted. So we do not go with a stamp signature. We are constantly looking at signatures. A lot of the mechanisms we have in place for example, documentation like service orders, they're electronically approved signatures with all the mechanism and requirements. We do have particular areas like evaluations currently right now, why we are doing an audit. That does not have that mechanism in place. We talked about that also at our last meeting, that we were looking for a mechanism to help us do the electronic signature in the areas of evaluation. But we are auditing that area, and we will have a report completed very soon, which we've started.
Yeah, and I know that, you all will always have somebody in place that can do a signature. At my organization, we don't have as many people, and so there may be a time that we have to use a signature stamp. So I was just wondering about that because we
Yeah.
just took it out of our.
In the Medicaid requirements, it does specifically state stamps are not allowed. That's in the Medicaid handbook number 9. We share this information in all our trainings with all our staff. They must electronically sign or hand sign signatures, pen and ink signatures, for the areas that we do not have a software in place for.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you,
Vice
President
President.
Allen.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions. One, can you remind me of your department size again? Because I know we had a conversation. You come every year to do this annual report. But just remind me again of the department size. I know there were conversations that you were smaller, then we put some ARPA dollars, but I know we're pulling ARPA, so I just want to have an understanding. How many people are in your department right now?
So in the department right now, it's just a total of 4, including myself.
Are any of them impacted by the changes and pullback from the ARPA
No, not currently.
Okay. And then, the reason I asked this, because as you were going through this presentation, you know, I've changed. I've learned some things in the last year. And one of the things I've learned is that a lot of these tasks, which may be or seem small, is a really big lift, right? To track down a family, to get a SIN number when they may have moved multiple times or can't be located at the current time. I mean, I deal with this right now. I have families I'm able to reach because of the physical locations I work at, but they're lost in this system when I call. They're like, no, we haven't been able to locate them. And so we're making those types of connections. But I just wonder how you get all the actual regulation and regulated work done, and then you have to stop and like try to find the family through this system, which often, again, for various reasons, is like a needle in the haystack, to get a SIN number, right? And then if the Medicaid is not active right now because regulations and laws changed this year, so there is no more, there was a period of time when the marketplace opened and it was automatic enrollments. And now this year, for the first time ever, the government said, no, we're going to remove automatic enrollments. Everybody has to physically come in, identify themselves, and reapply, which, again, and with Medicaid, depending on how they enter the Medicaid system, it could be a 6-month turnaround for recertification. It could be a year if they go through the marketplace. So just wondering what your size is, because where I'm going with this is that in the last year, learning about a lot of more expanded inner workings of Medicaid, particularly around this waiver we will be impacted and have the potential, based on the student populations that we're serving, the needs that they have, to build that back to Medicaid in a much more even significant amount, because Medicaid also expanded their income guidelines this year. So I do think, based on a number of changes, not just with Medicaid, but even with Human Services, there was a bunch of regulation changes that took place in December that will impact families in a positive way, but I do believe we're going to have to look at your department and potentially look at an individual that like focuses on working and building those relationships with the families, because not every family is going to give you a SIN number because you call me up. Okay, I don't know you. This is for my child. Well, why isn't my child's doctor calling me? Why is the school district calling me? There's often all these questions naturally because there's confusion around where SIN numbers are typically brought up or utilized. And then to bring it to your child's education, it's sort of a misfit, if you will, for most parents who do have to interact with SIN numbers. So just wondering about that, and I just want to put it on record. I do want to have a conversation about this at the next leadership, to start having those conversations now, to start figuring out what that could potentially look like. What does support from RCSD look like? Because you are the one department, one of very few in this district, that can generate income and revenue for the district, and the one department that we have 4 people only working at. And 2 years ago, the board voted to expand the grants department, which is another department that generates and brings in revenue for the district. But we should certainly be looking at the one that has the reality and the potential to bring it on a consistent basis while providing actual services to the kids who need them based on their IEPs. That's all. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Commissioner LeBron, for recognizing that. And just other efforts, you know, and some of my recommendations, making sure student documentation is always updated on a regular basis. There are some simple things we can do in our schools, and making sure the addresses are updated, making sure any spelling of the names are corrected in a timely fashion. These are just simple changes that when we do send that file up and we get rejected, kind of coming back to us, you know, we have limited control over, you know, identifying that, but then also making those corrections when we do identify them. But like the simple exercise that we had worked closely with you on brought hundreds of SIN numbers through Monroe County, which is over $500,000 in one exercise. We are modeling that same with the state education, or with the state education and the Department of Health at the state, and hoping we can get hundreds back also in that effort. So there is an agreement, it has been signed. We're getting ready to submit that file. But I thank you for recognizing the challenges that we face with the group that we have.
Questions? Thank you again.
I have a question.
Oh, Commissioner Patterson?
How you doing, Mike?
Good, thank you.
First of all, thank you for such a detailed report, and I also thank the members of your team, in the back of the room that also, helped out and help you out. So very appreciative. But again, it's always refreshing when you come in because your information is very understandable, not only to us, but I think the public. So thanks for being transparent. The only question I do have is really what we can do for you. You spoke relative to this parental consent. So in an effort to correct this issue where we don't, or you don't have these parental consents, do you have a recommendation on how either the administration can help you or the superintendent can help you with, this issue?
Yeah, so currently there are additional discussions that are taking place with Chief Swan in her area. What our always ultimate goal was to get the parental consent at the CSE meeting. So when the parents are coming to the meeting, either online or coming in person, either that QR code would be shared with them where they can actually scan on the screen. They would have a hyperlink. These are some of the user-friendly mechanisms that we created with her team to allow them to access and complete that. So that was one of the primary areas that we are working with Chief Swan on. With the schools, having the school support would be the probably one of the largest support, saying they have a smaller number of students, they reach out and do a push for the students. We have the information identified on PowerSchool. It lists up and updates nightly on which ones are missing parental consent. That information is communicated with the special ed software, so it specifically says who's missing parental consent for the students at their location. Other support, though, and I know we're talking about parental consent. The other big support would be on the expansion and the money that's pending with the Big Five in the state. We've spent probably going on 7 years now trying to get monies paid. In the past years, there was 4 years that were pending. Now we're 2 years that are pending. Yeah. But also just trying to have equity between states. When you start looking at other states and documentation that I have, there are states getting 100% of the share of the money. Not only for the cost reporting settlement, but also within their district reimbursement. Our reimbursement does get offset in the excess cost aid, a percentage, which is about 50%. But working at that high level, working at the state, with our state legislators and other folks to say, why is this happening, and why is it so little for New York State schools versus other schools that are getting a larger portion of the share. So those are two of the key areas where there's a lot of money, several millions of dollars that could be generated. And I know that you guys have a good idea as I try to share some of them, but there are others. But these are the large ones I wanted to present tonight where I think we can make a difference in these areas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just have one quick comment, Vice President LeBron. I'd love to see if we could possibly meet with you and your supervisor, me and President Elliott, to see how we can correctly advocate, and the Vice President, absolutely, to see how we can correctly advocate, on the state level for the funding.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Appreciate that.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. With that, I'm turning it back over to President Elliott.
Thank you. And I've got to grovel because I overlooked the ESA committee. So I'm bringing in a peach cobbler tomorrow because I'm groveling. I'm making them tonight. I don't care what time I get home because I got to grovel. Commissioner Simmons, ESA report.
I'm gonna see if I can still read, but I don't know. Oh, to speak, and also in regard to Dan DeClemente, he does have a fundraiser as well, so I do want to lift that, and I'll let the superintendent expound on that. So for the ESA committee, the Equity and Student Achievement Committee was submitted on June 20th, which is today, and we met, I told you I couldn't read tonight, on Tuesday, June 11th, and during this meeting, the board reviewed and accepted the minutes from the May 14th ESA meeting. During that time, Sandra Gabato-Koonsman, Executive Director of ELA and Reading, presented the language arts curriculum, emphasizing the recommended middle school EL education curriculum. Commissioners discussed the diversity of materials in alignment with board goals and the flexibility of modules to address student needs while maintaining implementation of fidelity. After that, Dan Hurley, the Executive Director for School or of School Innovation, provided an overview of receivership and school improvement plans as per Policy 440. He noted that for the first time, all schools met demonstrable indicators without a commissioner's determination. Congratulations to Principal Silas Lee and the School Number 19 team for exiting receivership. Next year, 5 schools will remain in receivership. And we'll be expounding on that as we move forward with ESA. Finally, we concluded the night with presentation by State Monitor Jaime Alicea on the State Monitor's academic and financial plan. The plan includes 48 academic recommendations and 32 financial recommendations. A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, July 9th at 5:30 p.m. to receive community feedback on the plan before the vote on July 25th. The next ESA meeting will take place on Tuesday, August 13th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons, and I do apologize, and the peach cobbler is tomorrow. So that concludes her report, but my report is to talk about Juneteenth and a few other items. I just want to acknowledge Juneteenth. It was yesterday. Many of the organizations and companies were closed. Juneteenth commemorates the end of slavery in the United States, marking the day in 1865 when the Union arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced the emancipation of enslaved African Americans, effectively enforcing the Emancipation Proclamation issued by President Abraham Lincoln 2.5 years earlier. This is a reminder that the struggle to freedom and equality, highlighting the resilience and contributions of African Americans, because even back then you had people like Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth and others who were in the president's ear at the time, demanding freedom. And for those of you who may not know this, the origins of Juneteenth celebrations includes the tradition of watch night services. So in the African American church, when we are in church on December 31st, that is as a result of the Juneteenth, where slaves were to hear the news of freedom. And so in our community, we do watch night service, but that was actually to hear the news of freedom. I'll just skip the rest of that. You all can read that. The next item is the invitation from Attorney General Letitia James invited me to a press conference to announce the historic $460 million multi-state settlement. New York State got $112 million of that. So while it was multi-state, New York State got about a quarter of that. And in addition to that, Rochester, the city school district, got $412,000 in the Juul settlement. Juul used deceptive marketing tactics and failed to prevent underage sales, leading to a public health crisis, with e-cigarette use among New York State students skyrocketing since its launch. I want to give some statistics around this. According to the Centers for Disease Control, e-cigarettes are the most used tobacco product among U.S. youth. Nicotine can harm adolescent brain development, which continues until the age of 25, including the areas of attention, learning, mood, and impulse control. Notably, 87% of calls to the Poison Control Center regarding e-cigarettes involve children under the age of 5. And I just want to the next item, wanted to just go over, congratulate Commissioners LeBron, Malloy, and Simmons for earning the Level 2 Lifetime Achievement Award under the New York State School Board Association Board Excellence Recognition Program. So I just wanted to congratulate my colleagues. I'm trying to figure out why I didn't get one. Lord have mercy. Woo, so my next report, next subject is the departure of our president, of our superintendent. Let me just tell you this. When I was cool, right? When I went on there, whoever, I think may have been Francine, that canceled the leadership meetings, I was done. Because then I had to,
Come on now, take your time.
I had to remove him. Dr. Peluso, and one of the things I had said, you know, when I first got on the board, you know, I was arguing with superintendents. I've said some egregious things to superintendents behind closed doors. But I made a decision that because the focus from the media was on the school board and its interaction with each other and its interaction with the superintendents, I made a decision. I didn't care who was in that seat. I was not going to say anything negative about that superintendent in public. And then we get a superintendent who, and Carmine and I go back a minute where, you know, when he was chief, you know, I put him out of a room one time, you know, put him out. But it is, so we've had some times, but I never thought that we would be here with this superintendent where we are now. I mean, he has put us in a position where we can launch this work. And I want to use Commissioner Santiago's words. We're at a point of a movement, and Dr. Peluso put us there. And I am so thankful and so grateful for the path, Dr. Peluso, that you put us on with your team. And you know, I've said to your team, and I've said this to them, you know, I didn't know if it was the right team because I didn't think it had the experience, enough experience that we need, and could do the kind of political fight that was necessary to do at times. I was wrong, and I've said that, and I'll continue to say that I was wrong. I'm telling you, this is, you know, LeBron James talk about, you know, the A-team. This has been a tremendous team with all of the work and the lift that has been done. And Dr. Peluso, it was led by you. And while I had the faith that we can get here, now seeing this operationalized, it's incredible. And I am so thankful. I'm so proud of this work. I wish you wasn't leaving us, but you put us in a good position. And I've got to just be thankful for that and give God the praise for you and what you've done here. It's been exemplary. And I'm going to miss you. You know, I love you. I always tell you that. You've done great work, and it's sort of like we've been, we're like Pete and repeat. You know, we've been joined at the hip, and that's intentional for me. And I thank you so very much for the work that you've done. And so before we do a round of applause and give you a standing ovation, I know this is my report, but I want to give the commissioners an opportunity to also share their thoughts about Dr. Peluso. We could start with Commissioner Griffith. Did you want to say something? Okay.
God bless you on your next journey, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. Commissioner Malloy.
Thank you. I don't want to start crying, so I promise I won't. I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for our district, not only for the many years of service in so many different capacities, but as a teacher, I think to myself, you're the type of superintendent that the teachers just really love to work for. And but you represent everyone, and I think everyone respects you. And the heavy lift that you had over the last couple of years has been pretty immense. You've had to deal with so many politics, but you've handled it with grace, with class, and it's been an honor getting to know you and work with you. You're getting my student teacher from my own district who's going to be working for you, and you know, as I told him today, you're going to love it working for that person. So I really respect you as an educator. I really respect the time that I was able to get to know you at the Harvard training last year. And I learned so much more about you. and your background and your experience and just who you are as a person. And you're going to be great wherever you end up. I wish your family well. I wish you well. Thank you for everything that you've done for this district. And we are finally at a place where we're going to see some major change for our students. And you helped to make that possible with your team. The strategic plan that you've helped to design with your team, as well as the academic plan, has us in a place where we can finally focus on academic outcomes. And it's going to become a reality. And a lot of that was because of your insight and everything that you did with your team. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Malloy. Commissioner Simmons?
Carmine, thank you for the work that you've done. You know, like I said, when I got here, my thought process was like, I am not about to be part of the hamster wheel. I am going to serve in a way that I hope we maintain a superintendent. And when you came forward as the person for selection, I felt very confident about that. And I don't regret that decision as far as you being capable of handling the job. So I do appreciate the dedication and the work that you've put in. I know that there have been many, many hard decisions. Some I've agreed with and some I haven't agreed with so much, right? But ultimately, such is life. And so I respect your decision and wish you well, taking care of your family as well as yourself. Good luck and Godspeed.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. I'll go with you last. David?
So, Dr. Peluso, it was an honor, you know, it's an honor, like, right now, just speaking about you, and you've done such a great work here, and we'll really miss you a lot. And at a point, I mean, because I feel like we don't speak enough about how much work and how much dedication you had to this job, but at a point, it became where it was not anymore a superintendent's role, but only a role that you can fill, and only a thing that Dr. Peluso can do. I remember closely when I came to you like a day before in your office and you're having a meeting. I was like, hey, can you stop by our school for our Rock to Change summit? And you had a whole day of scheduled things. Before then, before that early that morning, you came to one of our SSC members, DJ's interview at Edison, and you stopped by at our school just to say hi to the students, and you meet the students today. They were super happy that you were there, and you came and you saw. So from the bottom of my heart and also from the SLC, like, we thank you, and we're so happy and proud of you for where you'll go, and for all the work that you've done here. I mean, the students say it themselves. Whenever you come, it's like a mentor figure and like a father figure to them, and the role that you have in this district. And teachers talk, students talk, but it was nothing but good when they spoke about you. So really happy, really proud of you.
Thank you, David. Commissioner Patterson, did you want to say anything?
Yes, obviously. Dr. Peluso, we've had, I think, up and down in relationship, but I think you know I've always been transparent and honest with you when it came to issues or things within the community that were brought to my attention, and some administrative things that you had to deal with. I totally, even though some people think I'm stupid, I totally am aware of the pressures and the politics that, in your job that you have to deal with. And, but then again, I'm old school. So I think that, and I hope you know that, even though we've sometimes battled, that I still respected you. I am the type individual where it's like the old Congress, where Republicans and Democrats, they battle, on the floor, but Tip O'Neill and the rest of them, they be having a steak dinner, right after that. So even though we may have had some disagreements, in which we did, it doesn't say I disrespect you, right? I wish you the utmost, luck, and your new endeavor, and I said that publicly. And, again, good luck to you. A lot of things that I do have to say are personal, and I'll speak to you one-on-one. I just don't think they're for the public. But, And I wish you luck in your next endeavor.
Thank you, Commissioner Patterson. Commissioner Santiago?
Yeah, Dr. Peluso, just thank you, for the work that you've done since you've been superintendent. And before you were superintendent, me and Dr. Peluso actually met when I was in high school. I usually had lunch with my principal here and there, and he was in the office also. And so we were able to have a lot of good conversation. At that time, I was really advocating as a student, for a better RCSD. And we had good conversations, and he always was encouraging. And I bet you didn't expect from a student to me being one of your bosses, but I'm here. And so I appreciate you, man. We've been able to switch, in the relationship and still be open and cool with each other, but also know and give each other respect, which is something that I truly appreciate from you, Dr. Peluso. And you've created such of a great team that has really contributed towards the school district becoming a better place. And so we're on the movement and we're on the path of improving this district. And so, you've created a great plan, you created a great pathway forward, and now somebody from your team is expected to execute it. And so thank you for what you've done, and good luck on your next journey, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Santiago. And last but certainly not least, Vice President LeBron.
And I won't keep up everyone's time, but I want to say, I do feel, and I'll share this because I think there was a point when I first started that I was like, I think you come in newly elected, sort of like the prize is like there's this miraculous person that exists out there, shiny, that has all the answers, and the push has to be for an external candidate. And I shared those beliefs until we were faced with having to go out for yet another superintendent, and had some internal candidates, right? Dr. Peluso being one of them, who, I had known as a chief. I met the superintendent when he was just becoming a chief in the district. So I just want to uplift that he was one of the very few chiefs, and this is one of the arguments I made even with the board when we were having conversations, but he's one of the few chiefs who stayed over the course of multiple superintendents. That tells you something about an individual and their character, if they can work with all of the people who I won't name because I've had my fair share of calling out some of those superintendents. I'll forever call out Barbara Dean because she left us with a mess, a legal mess that we're still cleaning up, and some of us are still tangled up, and she is nowhere to be found. But if he could work for her and then transition into even a Terry Dade, right? Two completely different personalities, but still all had high praises. For Carmine, for me, he was someone that I was like, we should absolutely look at. And I'm so glad that this board did, and I'm so glad that you accepted and that you took the position. I know it feels like we're getting cut short sometime, but I am very confident in Dr. Strickland, and that is in part to one of the best decisions that the superintendent ever demonstrated was two things that occurred. One, I used to hang out with this, back in the day, I used to go to the club. I don't drink, but I used to go to the clubs. And some of my friends work in the district in various capacities, including food services, Bente, their rap, and paraprofessionals. And I love that because I do get lots of insights from different levels in this district, from people who actually know me and hang out with me. And one of those insights was when we first hired Carmine, I had some friends over, all singing praises for the superintendent. Hey, I used to be his food service person at School 35. He is an excellent principal, excellent boss, and real conversations. And for me, that was the confirmation, right, from the people who work in this district at various levels, from teachers to food services, bus monitors, bus drivers, all praising the superintendent, saying that was an excellent decision because he always treated me with respect, and he always had integrity, and he always tried to do what was best for kids and staff and looked out for our school, our team, all high praises. And then the second, sort of aha moment for me was when we were faced with some really challenging and difficult times around the budget stuff. And I just have to put this out here because they were not his issues to inherit, right? We had a superintendent where the deficit was discovered and left. It was a big, big burden. And then we had someone else who came in and said, oh, I'm gonna be able to potentially fix this, and wasn't able to. But then when the superintendent came, it was his selection of his team. That's where I was like, yep, we made the right decision, because that saying that goes, if you're the leader, but you're the smartest person in the room, you're not a good leader. I believe that for the superintendent. I believe that when he came in, he brought in some superstars in this district, and this is one of the strongest SEG groups that this district has had since I've been on this school board, and I can confidently say that. And some of you have been here or has stayed through, like with Carmine, during some of these transitions, even his own transition. A few stayed, some left, but he brought in some rock stars, and for that, I'm truly grateful that you assembled this team. My hope is that we can retain as many of you during this transition, and that will be my goal, that many of you will stay with us through this journey, because you are all rock stars. But I thank this superintendent who had the tenacity and the courage and the will to say, I'm gonna be in this role, but these are the people I want around me, because this is the team I wanna build. And so thank you, Superintendent, thank you, Carmine, and thank you to his team as well, to the SCG group. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President LeBron. So with having said that, I want to present Dr. Peluso with this plaque, and let me just read it. Presented to Dr. Carmine Peluso in sincere appreciation for your transformative leadership and service as Superintendent of Schools for the Rochester City School District, given this 20th day of June 2024. And if you would, with me, give Dr. Peluso a standing ovation, a round of applause. And this meeting has to be long because this is the last time I'm gonna see him, so y'all got to deal with it tonight. Thank you so much. So I'll go on with my report. I'm not done. We still now have to congratulate David. We did a little bit of that earlier on, but just wanted to again thank him for his work and his commitment to the Rochester City School District as a student. You really did, David, elevate student voice. I really love you and appreciate all of what LC does, and I'll continue to say it. I'll put you all up with anybody in the world. I mean, the intelligence, the insight, and the love that you have, and the love that you have for this district. So for you, on behalf of the Board of Education, I want to present you a certificate of excellence given by the Board of Education and Superintendent of Schools in recognition of exceptional leadership. We should have probably had all that capitalized, and social responsibility while serving as president of the Student Leadership Congress and student representative for the Board of Education during the 2022-2024 school years, given this 20th day of June, 2024. So David, let me just give this to you, and if you don't mind, applause and another round of standing ovation.
Oh, no commission, no, yes, a useful guest.
Woo, this is tough tonight. That is emotional. So lastly, just a couple other things I will say that I want to say from this dais, and until we get it right, I'm going to continue to say it. I want to remind my colleagues of the protocol in our approved communications plan. We must be mindful of how we treat one another and district staff. What happens in the boardroom is mirrored throughout the organization. Remember that people may respect the position. They may not always respect the person, the way in which you interact with them. We want to foster a positive interactions for advocacy and support. Our behavior should reflect the interactions we expect from central office and to the schools. Let's lead by example and ensure our conduct promotes a positive and collaborative environment for everyone. Let me also say this, and this is just in the culture that I want us to begin to start to do. And we could say the positive things, but the negative stuff. We know that exists. Let's just focus in this district on the positive things. So when we make statements, let's just talk about, we know we got a lot of stuff to do. It's not even necessary to say. Let's just focus on the positive things, and we will continue to improve our district. But it's not necessarily to say all of the negative things that you may be thinking, because that sort of pulls you down. You know, you get lifted up by saying some positive things at one point, and then you're pulled down because there's some criticism, some negative things that are saying. So I'm just hoping that we can begin to do that. So and when we see the behavior getting out of check, including me, we're going to make sure that we're going to send the policies. We're going to make sure that we send whatever we need to send in order to ensure that we're all in line, because it does reflect what we do here gets moved and translated down into the schools and into central office, and we want positive things to be to move from the leadership of this board. And then just a couple other things. There is a facilities modernization report, quarterly report for your review. I do attend those meetings, and it's open if you all want to attend those meetings. But the Chairman Richards will be presenting in the August 20th Finance meeting to give us an update on the where the plan is now. And then I've got down the leadership meeting. Oh, that we did have the leadership meeting at Franklin. So with that, that concludes my report. Thank you all very much. And so we will now get to the superintendent's report. Dr. Peluso?
Thank you, President Elliott. And I'll save some remarks for the end. And greetings to our families, to our staff, to our students all watching on social media. So today, I just want to take a second. It's my favorite time of year. It's the graduation time. And I want to make sure everyone in our Rochester City School District families can enjoy the upcoming graduation ceremonies. We've created a dedicated website where we will live stream all commencement events starting next week. Visit www.rcsdk12.org/graduations to find the list. Additionally, on this website, we have linked to our 12 Countdown to Graduation videos featuring a graduating senior from each high school and program chosen by their principal. I want to take a moment to pause right now so we could see one of our stellar seniors.
Hi, I'm Sadie Roll Knox, senior at School of the Arts, class of 2024. What comes to my mind when I think of School of the Arts is probably the community, I'd say, like the art community. There's a lot of art opportunities, and we kind of like all intermingle. The highlight of my senior year would probably be the people and connections I've made at SOTA. We've spent a lot of time together throughout our school year, and just having that connection and being with these people is really special to me. One of my favorite memories from being in the RCSD was actually in 3rd grade. I had a music teacher, and she taught us how to play the djembes, and we had a big drum circle, and it was just all of me and my friends, and we're just making a bunch of beats on the drums, and it was really fun to kind of like express ourselves that way. A teacher who's made an impact on me would be Mr. Hartman. He's a choir teacher. He was one of the directors for the first show I was in, and he really helped encourage me and get me out of my bubble and kind of shine on stage. If I could give my 9th grade self some advice, it would be to have faith in myself and believe that you can do it, especially since it was during COVID, so things seemed like, you know, the world was ending. After high school, I do want to go to college. I haven't decided a school yet, but I'm hoping to either study psychology or film. I would like to thank my mom. She really has supported me so much throughout my whole life, really, and all of the things she's given me and helped me with, I'm just so grateful for. In 10 years, I'm going to be a successful artist.
So please check out our social media, our websites. We have others of these. They're outstanding. Great job by our communications team and, of course, our students. I want to go on and congratulate the nearly 200 students who were selected to attend the Urban League of Rochester's 45th Annual Salute to Black Scholars event on June 3rd at the Gordon Fieldhouse at RIT. For over 4 decades, the Black Scholars Program has provided academic recognition, college readiness assistance, and scholarship incentives to students who achieve and maintain a B or better average throughout high school. So congratulations to our students who won the Salute to Black Scholars. Perryon Williams, a member of the Franklin's track team, is a state champion in track and field. The World of Inquiry senior won first place in the 100-meter dash at the New York State Track and Fields Championship in Syracuse on Saturday, June 8th. He was one of 18 RCSD students who competed in the state championship. Perryon is also a 2-time All-Greater Rochester first-team selection and previously won gold in the 300-meter dash at the Track and Field State Championship in Staten Island in March. After winning first place in the 100-meter dash, he qualified for the New Balance Nationals this past weekend in Pennsylvania, where he finished 11th overall, just missing the finals. He has certainly made us proud. Congratulations. Love this picture. More than 1,000 students from the district honored Nick Zona, one of the nation's top athletic directors, during 2 days of track events on May 18th and June 5th. Elementary students from across the district competed at the annual track meet in his honor. They participated in the long jump, high jump, 200 meters, 4x100 relay, 500-meter dash, and softball throws. Everyone had a great time. As we step into summer, we hosted our first ever Step Into Summer and community event at the School of the Arts on Saturday, June 8th. Families learned about summer opportunities and were able to get information on community resources and plans for the next school year. Activities included free music, food, raffles, and Food Link's curbside food market was also available. Special thanks to the Family and Community Engagement team for organizing this wonderful event. We also had our 24 Challenge math competition, and it fills me with great pride to see the joys on our students' face when they display and play the 24 game. Students showcased their exceptional math skills at our district-wide math competition at school number 7 earlier this month. Killian Murray, the winner of the competition for 4th grade, also participated in a statewide championship the following day in Albany, along with 2 other classmates from school number 25. Using 4 different numbers, students can add, subtract, multiply, or divide to arrive to the final result of 24. It was great to see so much excitement and enthusiasm around the game and our students' commitment to learning. More than 1,500 students from several of our schools have had a very unique experience this school year, learning about the science aboard the Riverie, which is a tour boat that runs along the Genesee River. Students from school number 8, seen here, took a trip last week, and 5th grade students from all across the district have been working in collaboration with instructors from RIT, the University of Rochester, and St. John Fisher to do water quality chemistry science experiments. These trips have been made possible through the generosity of the Rochester Educational Foundation SMILE program, which supports K-6 students throughout the district. Dave Beck, a local philanthropist, started the SMILE program, which funds field trips and experiences that put smiles on students' faces. Throughout the SMILE program, you've heard me present on the 40-foot replica of a life-sized whale that students had the opportunity to engage in, learn about operations of a hot air balloon, and has taken a simulation trip to Mars. Last week, students went on a 90-minute ride where they studied the biological, chemical, and physical characteristics of water. They allowed our students to step outside and engage in hands-on project-based learning. My Brother's Keeper Symposium, students from Early College, Edison, Monroe, and Wilson participated in My Brother's Keeper Symposium in Albany at the end of last month, aimed at empowering young men of color to unlock their full potential. Our exceptional students will not only serve as mentors, they will develop impactful service projects and foster skills that will benefit their schools and the Rochester community. Just want to provide today a brief budget update. Today you have a resolution to approve the amended budget, which includes board's request of intervention prevention teachers, staff and communication, and human capital. I do want to note that elementary layoffs were reduced to 25 teaching positions currently. We started with 53 potential layoffs, and today we're fortunate to absorb 28 of those positions. This evening, you will also be considering a resolution to approve the ratified ASAR contract with our administrators. Some highlights include clarified leadership work and vacation schedules, retirement incentive with notification deadlines to allow the district to have time for succession planning, principal stipend increase for larger schools and schools in receiverships, definition of a workday that will help us with our Oracle transition, and general salary increases set at 3.5, 3.5, and 3.4 in each respective year of the contract. I think we heard it today on numerous occasions. Congratulations to David. David is graduating from Rochester Early College International High School, and he served 2 years as a representative on the Board of Education. And I just want to say, everyone's talked about our Student Leadership Congress, and I have to say, when I was a senior and junior in high school, I had no way near the ability to enter spaces like David was and how he did. And he entered a space and he advocated in a way that was respectful, not fearful, right? Stood for what he believed in and what his core was. This is a remarkable, remarkable young man. And when we talk about a portrait of a graduate, right, this is a graduate that we're putting forth into our community, and we all know he's on his way to do amazing and great things. So whenever we're questioning our work or people are questioning our work, know that we have Davids that are doing amazing things, and I couldn't be more honored to be sitting with him at the day here because I believe I got smarter when he talked.
Me too. Me too.
Right. I really, truly believe that. And so I wish him nothing but the best of luck and congratulations. And right behind him is Hazel. And so I'd like to welcome Hazel as the newest student representative to the Board of Education. Yay. Let's give her a round of applause, right? Hazel will be a senior in September at Wilson Commencement. She's already a leader among her classmates. It's amazing. Like, you think and you look at it, and I say this with all the respect. You had Isaiah, who is a member of Student Leadership Congress. You have David, that's a member of Student Leadership Congress. Oh, no. And you have right now Hazel coming right behind. It is amazing. Anaya before that. Anaya before, yeah, I got it. Anaya before that, right? Yeah. So it is just truly amazing on how these, I can't even call them kids, but they enter these spaces and are completely looked at and respected. And everywhere we go and we hear them talk, people come and say, just truly amazed. And, once again, we're so fortunate. Hazel taking this dais will be another huge asset to us in the Board of Education. So welcome, Hazel, and congratulations. Just wanted to kind of give you a brief update on the Investing Tomorrow. We are currently in what phase we call our Move Matrix. And the Move Matrix is a monumental task, and I thank Chief Scott and the operations team. And we've met with all principals, all staffs to go through what needs to occur on the move, on these moves. And this is a huge, massive operation. It establishes who will do what, when, where they're going where, plans of communication, locations for all aspects of technology, curriculum, materials. Information has been sent and communicated to principals, and really creates that roadmap. We're talking thousands and thousands of boxes and thousands of pieces moved. So that's currently where we are. This will kick off, and they're already in motion, getting ready to go beginning next Monday, right? And so I know that the plans are in place to make sure that this is all done and done completely. So, just wanted to give a brief update on the move. And, as was said, I just want to say, tonight is my last time sitting at the dais here as our CSD superintendent, right? And I am filled with mixed emotion. I've worked here for half my career, 13 and a half years, serving as a teacher, a principal, a school chief, and my last couple as superintendent. And, you know, when I've sat down and I reflected on what we've accomplished, and I didn't even write everything down, but, you know, I want to say that this board put in the work, right? This board and this team put in the work. We were able to approve a new school organization policy, right? We updated our managed choice policy. We changed our grading and retention policy. We addressed the district footprint, which has been hanging over the district's head for so long. We came in, we settled an RTA contract that was at impasse right off the bat. We created a new strategic plan with board input and community input. We put ourselves in a budget situation where we stabilized our budget. We approved an FMP strategic plan. And even today, it's interesting, on my first meeting as superintendent, we approved the RTA contract. Today, we're approving an ASAR contract. So this team and this board put the work in.
The two spin downs.
And, right, and two, that's right, and two lottery spin-ups paid off, right? So this board, this team absolutely did the work, right? We faced challenges head-on, and we created what I believe is a better district for our students, families, and staff. I do want to thank each member of the board for their dedication and collaboration. Your commitment to our schools and our community has been instrumental to progress. To our incredible educators and staff, you're the driver. Your passion and tireless effort have shaped countless lives and countless futures in our district. To our parents and guardians who entrust us with their children every day, your partnership is and will always be invaluable. As I move on to my new role, I do leave with a ton of hope for our district. The community is resilient. The students are extremely talented, and the potential is limitless. Together, we have achieved so much, and I am truly honored to have been a part of it. Thank you for the privilege of serving as your superintendent. I look forward to watching the district and our students continue to make progress under the leadership of this team and Interim Superintendent Strickland. I thank you all. And I do appreciate the 2 years have been remarkable. Thank you so much.
The next report is from the Assistant Superintendent for the East EPO. First of all, did I give you all the chance? Everybody? All right.
Sorry.
The Assistant Superintendent for the East EPO, Katerina. I can't say your last name. All right.
Good evening, President Elliott, Vice President LeBron, Superintendent Peluso, esteemed commissioners, and the greater Rochester community. My name is Katerina Leone Menino, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to present East EPO's June 2024 report to you this evening on behalf of Superintendent Marlene Blocker. East scholars showcased their future decisions and took pictures for Reach Higher Day. There's a multitude of different colleges they will be attending, as well as the U.S. military and future employment. We are proud of our graduating seniors at East. At the end of each school year, scholars articulate places or things that they would like to do in our community, and we use our last half day to make those events come to fruition. This year, some of the places they went were Artisan Works, Cobb's Hill, Eastman House, the Public Market, Rochester Multi-Craft Apprenticeship Prep Program, School 33, and the Toast Factory. Some students also stayed at East and participated in activities and cleanup. Thank you to Mr. Hart for leading this and all who assisted along the way. East journalism scholars with Ms. Conroy went on a trip to Channel 13 to learn the inner workings of a news station and to see what broadcast journalism careers look like. While there, they were curious, poised, and excellent representatives of East. We also celebrate the scholars that went to Monroe Community College to take the college-level exam program exams and earn college credits while still in high school. Altogether, just this group was awarded 129 college credits for their Spanish language arts work. Señora de Jesus has done a remarkable job with them. Congratulations. And our lower school scholars, as well as our New York State alternate assessment class, enjoyed a celebratory day watching the Red Wings. While there, they participated in trivia contest, won some prizes, and East staff were interviewed. Congratulations to all our scholars for all their hard work. Our East community celebrated Juneteenth with a flag-raising ceremony under the leadership of Vice Principal Miss Bliss Walker. Scholars learned the history of Juneteenth, a scholar sang and Lift Every Voice and Sing, a senior provided her own testimonial, and a staff member preached to scholars about the importance of not being enslaved still by the decisions they make, but to do more than just exist. It was a wonderful celebration filled with dignity and pride. And our East community would like to extend congratulations to all our CSD graduates. We wish you success, happiness, and look forward to the contributions that you will make to our world. A special shout out to our All City High School colleagues for their extraordinary help in helping all our CSD scholars succeed. And we wish Dr. Peluso the very best as he moves on to his new position. We thank you for the time and effort you gave to the RCSD scholars over so many years, and thank you especially from Marlene Blocker for the guidance you provided to her as the new East Superintendent. Thank you for your attention. This concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent. So I forgot to ask if you all had any questions for Dr. Peluso in his report, or even the Assistant Superintendent for the East EPO. Are there any questions for either of the superintendents? All right, thank you. So we will move down to the resolutions. But before I do that, I wanted to, in reference to the report I did on the Juul vaping settlement, just want to announce that Dr. Josh Mack has a book entitled Youth Vaping Unveiled. So if you're interested in knowing more about vaping, he has some products available. And then also, because one of the things I wanted to also make sure that's in our forefront is that the board goals for 23 through 28. And so I will announce those as well, as I will at every meeting. Increase the percentage of students in grades 3 through 8 who are proficient on the New York State ELA assessment from 16% in September 2023 to 40% in June 2028. All students reading by 3rd grade, increase the percentage of students proficient on the 3rd grade New York State ELA from 15% in September 2023 to 50% in June 2028. Increase the percentage of students in grades 3 through 8 who are proficient on the New York State math assessment from 14% in September 2023 to 40% by June 2028. And increase the number of students earning 5 or more credits in 9th grade from 70% in September 2023 to 90% by June 2028. And so having stated that, I'll now go to the resolutions. I'm going to ask for a motion, and if it's okay that I bundle. It's okay? All right. So I'm going to, and this time, David, I'm going to make sure that I get the advisory vote. So is there a motion for resolutions 856 and 857? Moved by Commissioner Simmons. Is there a second? There's a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Patterson. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 856 to 857?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolutions 858 and 859?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Griffin. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 858 and 859? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Is there a motion, can I get a motion for resolutions 860 through 873?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons. Is there a second?
Motion.
You seconded, right, Commissioner? Seconded by Commissioner Griffin. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 860 through 873? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Can I get a motion for resolutions 874 through 888?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Patterson. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 874 through 888? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolution 889?
Motion.
By Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Was that you moved, Commissioner? Any questions or comments related to resolution 889? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolution 890 through 894?
Moved. Second.
Including, let me just also include here, resolution 636. So we're saying resolutions 890, 891, 892, 893, 894, and resolution 636.
What is 636?
You just go and look at it. Just click on it, Commissioner. Yeah, it's under number 13 on the agenda, and it's the last one.
Okay, I'm with you.
F.
Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments related to the resolutions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolutions 895 through 898?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 895 through 898? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a resolution, a motion for resolutions 899 through 905?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Malloy. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 899 through 905? Hearing none?
Sorry. Sorry, I moved ahead of you.
We did second it, and I did get the
Yes.
motion second. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Is there a motion for resolution 906 through 920?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Griffin and seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 906 to 920? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolutions 921 through 933?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Griffin. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 921 through 933?
Excuse me, President.
me just-
No, this section goes to resolution 947.
Wait a minute.
All right, my mistake. So it goes to 947. Yeah, I wrote it down wrong. So a motion for resolutions 921 through 947.
Motion.
All right, motion, it was moved by Commissioner Simmons, seconded by Commissioner Griffin. All right, any questions or comments related to resolutions 921 through 947? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for bearing with me on that one. Resolution, is there a motion for resolutions 948 through 958?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Santiago. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 948 through 958?
I thought you said 50 at first, but you said 58? Okay, all right.
8 through 958?
Yep.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
And can I get the advisory vote for all of those for you?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Is there a motion for resolution 959?
Motion.
Oh, we already did that one, so that was already done, correct?
Yeah.
Yep, all right, so let's go on to resolution 960 through 966.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Malloy, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Santiago, is there advisory vote? Yeah,
Well, I
thank you.
had a quick comment also.
Okay,
Was that after the advisory vote?
yes.
Okay, so aye. I just wanted to quickly shout out Ashani Phillips for the code of conduct. She was on the code of conduct committee. She's our very own SOC member at Monroe. She's graduating this year, so just wanted to shout her out for helping put together the code of conduct for this
Thank
year.
you so much. Thank you. Any other questions or comments related to those resolutions? We already, did we do that, those already, 960 through, okay.
No, we got to vote on it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for resolutions 967 through 992?
Moved. Second.
Commissioner Malloy, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to resolutions 967 through 992?
I do have a quick question.
Commissioner Santiago?
For Resolution 986, I was just wondering if this summer program will be open to all of our refugee and migrant students, or will it be specific to the students who are in the program?
I do believe with the grant that this needs to be open to all students, not just students that attend Rochester International Academy.
Related to resolutions 967 through 992? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion for resolutions 993 through 994? There's not a 995, and it goes to, then to 996 through 1,000, right? And 1,001. So resolutions 993 through 994, and resolutions 996 through 1,001. Motion?
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Santiago, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any questions or comments related to those resolutions?
I have one.
Let me go to Commissioner Malloy.
I need to recuse myself from, per Board Policy 2300, for letter A, which is Resolution 993. This impacts a family or household member. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Malloy. Commissioner Santiago?
Question for Resolution 994. I was just wondering if we could get a quick, brief explanation about that. Is why? Because I see that there's an extension there. It's not the one that we just.
No,
yeah,
this is
yeah, no.
reference to the EPO.
Nope, this is for at our last superintendent's update, when Superintendent Blocker and I were presenting, we shared that we are going to bring forth MOAs to continue the current format that is in with ASAR as well as RTA. We're continuing to work on RTA. RTA will probably come at the July meeting, just to continue the level of work that's happening with that unit for 25-26, because the EPO ends at 24-25. This will continue that work for 25-26 and give ample transition time to make sure everything's in place for 26 moving forward.
Okay, and thank you for that. I just have another quick question that can go to the board log, because I know it won't be answered tonight. But I would like to see more information on our paid leave of absence, or our paid leaves, employees who are being paid while not attending work. I guess it would be good probably to see if we can do a meeting, or I'll talk to you after here, Rahima, to see how specifically to frame that question. But I do have a couple questions regarding that.
And then, and we'll provide some contractual language that fits in. So some of that is in the CBAs and the contract, collective bargaining agreements.
And if that's something that even made through the Human Resources Committee, that can also be discussed more. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor?
Excuse me, Madam President. This is comments relative to 993 through 1001, correct?
That's correct. Absence of 995. There's no 995.
Yeah, it'd be a comment, I guess, relative to 993. So my comment there is, I'm not going to be voting for this resolution, and the reason being, I don't mind everything else that I've heard in executive session, but there was one thing, one issue that I did have with, I guess, I'm looking at you, Adrian, if I can say this, cut me off if I can't, that dealt with a pay rate for acknowledging if you're going to leave early, if I can say that much.
I mean, general information that's specific to either existing against collective bargaining that's already memorialized in an agreement or in the resolution before the district is okay to discuss, but anything that is confidential pursuant to that's currently under negotiation, I would say, you know, that's not open for a public conversation right now. So,
Okay.
Is that a question that you feel comfortable discussing right now?
No, I'm not looking for a discussion. I'm just saying, you know, I want the public to know my reason for not voting on that resolution. That's all.
All right, anything else?
Can I just ask a quick question? Because I believe as commissioners that if we don't agree with something within a resolution, you can vote no on it, but you're still mandated as a public official to, that's part of our duties as commissioners.
Can you take that off? I can't really hear you that clear.
I'm sorry. I believe that you can always vote no on something that you disagree with. And please, our general counsel, if they could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we have an obligation to cast a vote unless we are recusing ourselves for conflict of interest.
Yeah, but I don't think he said he was.
That's not the question.
He
Yeah,
didn't
right.
say he was going to recuse himself. That's not what I heard.
Correct. Yeah.
No, I'm saying unless we are
Okay.
for,
Yep.
as a recusal, I think we're still mandated, we're not allowed to say we're not going to vote on something.
Yes.
I didn't say that.
Okay, just ensuring.
Yeah, all right. All right, so all those in favor of resolutions 993 through 1001? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Commissioner Patterson? Opposed. You oppose 993?
That's correct.
All right, the other ones that you're in favor of?
That's correct.
All right, can I get an advisory vote, David?
Aye.
All right, thank you. I'm sort of not used to hearing it, so when you said it, I didn't really capture it. So that ends the, just want to, you also have here the quarterly report for the Rochester Joint Construction Board. That's there, and I will turn it over to Commissioner Griffin for the first readings of policies. Commissioner Griffin?
Yes, thank you, President Elliott. The following proposed policy items are attached and slated for the first reading. Transfer students, disabilities, 4216, identification and registration of children with disabilities, policy 4217, section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, policy 4218, independent educational evaluations, IEE 4219, special education mediation 4220, impartial hearing, selection of impartial hearing officers, policy 4221, credentials options for students with disabilities, 4222, wandering and eloping policy, 4240, service learning, civic engagement, 4314.3. Is there any questions on the policies named above? If no, I will turn it back over to President Elliott so he can conclude the first readings of the policy for this evening.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Griffin.
You're welcome.
And so that ends the resolutions, consideration of resolutions. May I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters leading to the appointment, employment status of specific individuals or corporations and/or to discuss matters of concern with the general counsel. Moved by Commissioner Simmons and seconded by Commissioner Griffin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So we will leave and adjourn from downstairs. Just want to thank everybody for joining us online, and also have a great summer, and look forward to doing this in September, where we're going to do even greater things in our Rochester City School District. Thank you, and if I could have my colleagues to complete the board survey, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Have a good night.
Good night.